Hey, Aaron from Automatal Things here. Wanted to bring you some context before you jump into this stream clip. So on this stream, we're helping Mackenzie Child set up an approval process for his website. So on his website, he features other creators and folks can submit their website to be features on Mackenzie's website. And so part of that process is taking a screenshot of every website he approves. And this is a very manual process today. He has to go in, take a screenshot, and then upload that manually. So we wanted to automate it. And the way I've found to do that is by using an online tool, an API that lets you take a screenshot automatically of any website you submit to it. And so I know APIs can be intimidating, but they're actually very easy to use. So APIs are essentially services sharing information. So in this case, we're sending information to this online tool, telling it which website we want to take a screenshot of, and then it returns that screenshot, which we can then put into Airtable or wherever else we want very easily. And APIs are actually very easy to run from Zapier. You just need a little bit of mapping of the different API documentation to what you want to do. And once you've learned the basics, they're actually quite easy to use. So I thought I'd bring this stream clip to give you a sense of how to use a simple API, and hopefully you can use this whenever you find yourself having to use an API. So with that, hope you enjoy this stream clip. I thought that was a good intro. It's not no code stream. I mean, we sometimes write code. I don't think people should be intimidated writing a few lines of code. Yeah, I think we can go with this one. Yeah, let's do it. All right, enjoy. But you wanted to get a screenshot, right? Which
that
we're going to
cool.
do now, right?
Cool.
Okay, so let's go Google website screenshot API. So there's a thing called API Flash, which you provided a URL, right? So this is actually, when you think about it, like kind of like a webhook. Right?
Yeah.
It's a little different in that that's just their API documentation. You specify a URL with height. In the call, it's going to go to their website and then take that image for you and provide you a URL then to kind of send wherever you want.
So would that URL get passed back to Webflow?
Yes. So let's do a call. Let's try to do this, right?
Yeah, I'm curious.
So let's go into access. There should be like a little query builder. Okay. Okay. So URL, we said http://tabs.pro, right?
Yes.
Okay. We want the full page, correct?
No, not the full page.
You don't want the full page?
No, I've just been doing like, I think I was like 1280 by, basically it needs to be like rectangular.
Okay, well let's 4x3.
Yeah, do that for now.
Let
me find exactly what size I've been using.
No, it's the other way around. It's 3/4 of 1280. 9060 feels like it makes sense. Okay, we want the response to be a JSON. Let's just do image for now. Quality, let's leave this. I don't know what.
Why would you do JSON over image? Just curious.
We'll get there. That was
okay.
I think it'll become pretty clear, right? So let's run this call. So we just use the query builder. Let's copy to clipboard. And it takes an image, right? There's an issue here in that like the website is loading.
Mm-hmm.
So that's issue number 1. So if we go back to the dashboard, we can put a delay. So these are all things I hadn't thought of, but let's see how long it takes for tabs.pro to load. 1, 2. Let's give it 3 seconds. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Let's try that one more time. Okay. Boom. So this is an
Perfect.
image, right? Now, okay, let's do this. Let's run this API call just as we did in Webflow, in Zapier, right? So essentially this API call, all you need to do to run it, I always worry that developers are watching this stream and they're like, I say something and they know that this is not true, but just go to any browser and enter this information, right? So what we want Zapier to do from here is like, go to the website we're currently working on, run this API call, and then take that response from the API call, that image, and send it to Webflow, right?
Awesome.
How you do that in Zapier is to, well, just run another webhook. Because when you think about it, like a webhook is an API call, right? So we're gonna do a get call, which is the get is the same thing you do in a browser, right? So whenever something works in your browser, you know that a get call is going to work. And all I'm going to do now is just copy paste that URL, right? I feel like that's a good test. We're not going to put any parameters. I'm just removing, they had like little spaces, right? And we're just saying, okay, that worked in our browser. Let's see if this works properly. Continue, test and review. Okay, it says file exists but not shown. So it received the file.
Okay.
So if you ever just kind of like you want to send an email with that image, I think this should work. However, most APIs do not accept an image as like a parameter, right? Because when you think about it, like how do I send this image in an API call? I can't really. So what most image management systems work, like in Airtable, you can get the image, but you can also get the hosting URL.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have experience with Webflow and you're sending data in a API fashion, you actually need it to be hosted somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go here, like this is hosted. If I copy image addressed, right, this is hosted at this API call. So what I wanted to return is a URL I can go to that will have the image. I feel like I'm maybe making sense, maybe not.
No. Yeah.
And
You're making
so
sense.
instead of sending as an image, we're going to send as JSON. So this is going to return like an image parameter, just like it is now.
Okay.
Right? So it's telling us like one of the response items is file. But instead of returning the actual file, it's going to return the URL. Exactly. So let's launch this in new tab. Waiting 3 seconds. Right, so it gives us a URL now. And if I go to that URL,
awesome. Is
I
this
have the same
API Flash free to use, or is this a paid
I think it's free
thing?
for 100 per month.
Okay.
So I think it's like a couple bucks maybe additionally. Like it's more for like high volume.
Yeah.
So, you know, it shouldn't be prohibitive. Okay, so now we have a URL, this one. Wait, no, I gotta, the one that responded, this one, right?
Yes.
Boom, so let's change this. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, it's giving us a URL. And that worked.
Nice.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, Ethan. Yeah, so $7 a month for 1,000 from Colleen. Appreciate you kind of pulling that up.
Oh, nice.
Right? So 100,
that's not
like if
bad.
you're expecting more than 3 a day, you might have to pay $7, which feels totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, but now this is for, we've put Tabs Pro as like what we call hard coded, right? So if this was ever to run again for another website, it would still output the image of tabs.pro. So what we want instead is to parameterize this to put the URL from this one right here, fields URL. So this is saying, okay, take the URL and then put the fields after, put the URL field, which in this case will be tabs.pro. Now, usually we would put this as query string parameters, but we're not fussy. We're just going to put that into like one ugly API call. I'm sorry for the developers watching this. So continue, retest action, and then let's open that up. And we have our, I am a little worried that worked because it should not have worked. Let me see if this one works. So what I'm going to do is, because you see here, when we went to the query builder, I'm sorry, I'm the person with a lot of tabs right now. And, let's go back. We had one here, I think. There we go. You notice here, it creates like a little, it changes your /
Yeah.
to be, friendly to URLs. So yeah, I was going to mess that up on purpose, Ethan, but it didn't work. So what I mean by this is I'm a little worried. So if I copy this into the URL, but then instead put / here, which is what we have in Airtable right now.
Yeah.
It shouldn't work, right? Invalid URL. And I think why it works is because it knows that we just queried it like 10 seconds ago. So it just sends us back that same response.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were to hard code HTTPS //tabs.pro, this should fail. Why does this work? Maybe I need to refresh.
Is Zapier just smart enough to switch it out?
Maybe. I don't think so. Right? I think what it's doing is that it's not actually retesting the webhook. Yeah, it's just giving us back that same response. So if we were to run it, so let's put this live. Or let's do this. Let's see. Let's do this differently. Let's go into our live stream. Let's copy paste this, copy record, duplicate record, but give it another URL. So let's just say https google.com. Okay. If we were to, let's turn this off. Let's run the webhook again. Okay, that worked. The webhook worked. So let's just try to get it again. There we go. So let's use this as testing, as our test. Let's get the record again. So this one should be Google now. Google.com, right? That's our website. So here, if we go here and we get the website from step 1. Now, if this works, I mean, listen, I'm not going to complain, right? There's an answer in the chat. You didn't add the icon. So what? Doesn't matter. URL equal. This should work. Folks are telling me that the answer's in the chat. I don't believe them.
You didn't add
Okay.
the colon before the //.
No, this looks more promising. Damn it, it worked. Okay, well, it works. So forget what I was going to do.
Okay.
This is great. You don't need to worry about the encode URL component, but it works. So we'll try this out one more time.
So Zapier has to be smart enough to like convert that, right?
Maybe, right? So it's giving
Why
us
else,
back the
why
URL.
else would it be working? Or how else would it be working?
You listen, the little testing I did before did not work. If this ever
Interesting.
doesn't, because it is weird that there's / shouldn't, right?
Yeah, so walk us through like what you would do
Right.
if it failed.
So if ever this fails, and I really hope it doesn't, is that you have this concept of encode URL. So encode a URL removes. So what you can do here is, your formula field, which gives you that format that. Let's go. So we're gonna go encode URL component, and then put the URL there. And you see that it takes those / and changes them to what the API expects. Now you're right that maybe Zapier looks at this URL and says, you know what, we need to encode it and remove any funny characters. And I'm not sure how we can see whether that's the case, right? So I don't know what webhooks it used, but it works.
Yeah.
So if it ever, I think this is safer, right?
Probably.
But listen, we're going to give the people what they want. This seems to work. Okay. So now that we have the image, really the kind of next step is relatively straightforward, which is like send all this information to Webflow.